Alex, as I saw Daniel Bryan walking to the ring, I was like, why does that look so familiar? Tell us why it looked so familiar, Alex.
I don't remember if it was Total Divas or Total Bellas. When Bryan was still on the shelf before he came back, he was talking to Sami Zayn at the Performance Center. And he was showing Sami Zayn that he had this new style he was trying out that if he ever got to come back, that would lessen impact on his neck and stuff because it would be based all on like crawling around on all fours and doing cartwheels and evasive maneuvers and stuff. It was like this animal thing that he was doing. And he would say, and if I ever wrestle Brock Lesnar, I'm going to use this style. And when he came out to the ring on his way down to the ramp, he walked like 3 or 4 steps on all fours. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to do the animal thing that he talked to Sami Zayn about on Total Divas that one time. Because I'm a giant nerd and I remember stuff like that from like 3 years ago.
There's some good stuff on those shows occasionally.
Occasionally there is, yeah.
So early on, Bryan drop kicks Brock's knee and takes the jog around the ring. He is trolling Brock Lesnar. I think this version of Daniel Bryan against Brock Lesnar is best because it humbles him a little bit and it shows that he can still be a troll, but that's the only offense he would get for a while. He gets German suplexed on the back of his head after he gets clotheslined in the head. And I just got to say thank you to Brock on the second attempt for doing something vaguely resembling a bridge. That way Bryan wouldn't die. But as I tweeted, if I'm in WWE and I'm told to take the Lesnar German, I'm going, doesn't work for me, brother. HH. I'll take one of those belly-to-bellies instead. And Daniel Bryan took a lot of them. Brock bear hugs Bryan, suplexes him overhead a couple times. Now, WWE wrestlers are told not to directly interact with fans in the middle of a match. That does not apply for Brock Lesnar, who tells a fan to shut up, you fucking moron.
Listen, nothing applies to Brock Lesnar.
I mean, the word girls is banned from the WWE broadcast, but apparently, quote, shut up, you fucking moron, end quote, is a go. We see some bear hugs, some suplexes, some F5s, and Brock pulls up Bryan, and then we see the comeback. Warren, I got to ask you, did you think that the comeback was going to happen?
Yes, because I kind of feel like it was patterned off of the match that Brock had with AJ last year, where AJ got no offense for the better first third of the match. But then when he did mount his comeback, it was spectacular. And here, while I was wondering how our new version of Daniel Bryan, which I will affectionately refer to as Gollum from now on, I was really wondering how he was going to go about doing it. And I honestly think that if he hadn't done the heel turn, if he had stuck to being white meat babyface Daniel Bryan, I don't think it would have been as compelling as it was.
I would argue the same. So, Brock F5s Bryan into the ref and gets kicked right in the penis. Now, Alex, I don't know if you were on the SmackDown broadcast yet when Mike Chioda cashed in the Money in the Bank with Carmella.
Oh, no, I absolutely was, yes.
Okay. Kayfabe, he'd be fired.
Yeah, he's the worst kayfabe ref in the history of reffing.
Yes, he's terrible. Bryan cracks Brock with the flying knee for 2.9, stomps him out. Lesnar goes for an F5, but can't do it and swings wildly and flies over the top rope. Bryan posts Lesnar, but gets caught on a suicide dive and slammed into the ring post. Lesnar tries to go after Bryan with stairs, but misses and walks into a flying knee off the apron. Another in the ring gets a near fall. Bryan goes after the leg of Lesnar, and Brock's leg gives out on an F5. Yes, lock is applied, but Brock has to work to get out, and Bryan goes to cross-face punches, which I love. Bryan then rolls into a triangle, gets picked up in F5. Lesnar wins. Alex, you said on Twitter that if Daniel Bryan could drag Lesnar to a 6 out of 10 on my scale,
or out of your scale, yes,
that you would be surprised. Dare I say that he far exceeded it?
He did. He absolutely did. Daniel Bryan's an amazing talent, a brilliant wrestler, and proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt tonight with this match, with this storytelling. Because here's the deal: I don't know if all the German suplexes had belly to bellies had looked as safe as I would say 80% of them did. Okay, fine. But that first one looked like Bryan had been killed. Like he landed all on the back of his head. And I was like, oh, no, Daniel, it's not worth your career to have this match. This dude he's a trained grizzly bear, occasionally will maul someone to death. Like that's the thing with Brock Lesnar. You never know if today's the day where he's going to kill somebody, because he's a giant guy who just throws people around and occasionally something goes wrong.
Yeah, fair.
If it's Daniel Bryan, you don't want it to be tonight. That first one got me so worried for him that the comeback worked. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been worried. That's how brilliant this whole thing came into play. The dick kick after the F5 into the ref who was woefully out of position. No one's ever stood there on an F5.
Yeah.
Not ever, Mike Chioda. What the hell? Anyway, everything after that was just so great. Like I love Daniel Bryan with a little bit of, evil, or as Jared Leto would say, diarrhea in him, because like that thing where he stomps on Brock's face while pulling it up toward him by the arms. Gosh, that's just brutal looking. He's the American dragon has been woken from its slumber, and I am here for that shit. I really like all this. The one finish I've always booked in my head for a match between Lesnar and Bryan almost took place, which is why I wanted Bryan to have the yes lock applied and Brock to fight out of it enough that he's able to stand up with Bryan still on his shoulders and transfer from that position into the F5 and out of it. But other than that, this match is an absolute home run for what I was worried it was going to be. My God, Daniel Bryan he's otherworldly, man.
If you all want to see a bigger struggle for Daniel Bryan, check out any live stream I do of WWE 2K19 as I play through showcase mode and just fail miserably over and over again. It took me like 8 times to beat The Miz. That is a stream worth watching. I almost rage quit, which I committed to never doing. Warren, your thoughts on this match? I loved it. We got 2 legit dream matches for a WrestleMania headlining this show.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that the last match was fantastic. I was a bit bummed when we didn't get Lesnar Styles 2, but this is more than a nice consolation prize. And it had me believing for a second when the yes lock was applied and Brock, his eyes were popping out of his head. Like he was doing a good job selling. Motivated Brock is fun. Brock. Yeah. You got to put that in perspective too. When he knows he's in a big match with someone who he probably respects, he gives a little extra something. So when he broke out that first time and it got locked in again, and his he was turning purple, and not just by walking around in the ring. I really, for a moment, thought that Daniel Bryan was going to pull it off. Now, the question that I have is, where do they go from here with Bryan? Who I really feel like I didn't know the Total Bellas thing because I don't watch that show. But when he started walking on all fours towards the ring with his weird smile and clutching the belt, he started to look like Gollum to me. Yeah. And his reactions in the ring sort of reminded me of that too. So, I'm really interested to see where we go from this point on. Is it AJ Styles that's still in his future? Who's next? What's going on, man?